it felt like I sat up from my lying position and I looked around. Everything looked the same at the picnic area, but there was almost a glitch in the sky, and I couldn't understand what this glitch was. And so I sat up and I looked. When I looked next to me, my friend was no longer there, and I knew something had happened to me. And I thought, oh my gosh, what happened? Where am I? Like, am I dreaming? Or, I was lying on the blanket, and I thought this must be a dream. And I sat up and I looked and I saw this glitch. And it's almost like if you take two pieces of a screen and you fit it together, it's just out of place. Like the one frame does not fit the next frame, and everything just had a glitch.
Do you think that we live in some type of simulation like the Matrix?
Absolutely, absolutely. But it's so, like I said, Jeff, you can't take quantum physics and simulation and science and draw the line, because it's connected to our consciousness. It's connected to our soul. It's connected to our frequency, all of that.
And do you think it's possible that this realm that we live in is just a simulation?
Mm-hmm. Yep, I do. I do. I've had like some weird experiences that I feel like are glitches in that reality or in our reality that are just really bizarre. And I'm just like,
like what?
Like, going someplace and hanging out with people and then finding out that place doesn't exist in reality. Like
Wow.
That has happened. Yeah. Like, I mean, even I had the GPS coordinates still in my car, and I went to just drive by it, and there's like a house there instead of this apartment building we were in, and I'm like, what? And it wasn't there. There's been like things like that happen, or just I had an apartment that I lived in Sherman Oaks that was haunted. I guess you'd say, but my stuff would go missing all the time and never came back. Like it never reappeared. So where to go? Like literally, I mean, things like car keys or hairbrushes or remote controls that just vanished, and I live by myself, and they're right there and now they're gone. Or they're in the freezer, like that happened one time where like my keys were in the freezer, and I just walked in the door from work and hadn't gone to the kitchen yet. I put my keys down by the front door and they're in the freezer. It was just weird stuff like that. Like, I don't know, is that a ghost doing it or is it just a glitch? I have no clue. There's too many weird things that happen. I think that it could definitely be a simulation or a hologram or whatever, I guess. I mean, that's what the government determined, right? You've read
the
Gateway Project.
But what was that? I don't know if I've read
the Gateway analysis.
Is that with Bob Monroe stuff?
Yeah.
But
like
I don't.
The hologram.
I haven't read the research on that. Can you tell us?
Oh, yeah. So the Army Corps of Engineers, physicist or doctor that did the report had said, like factually reported, it's a fact-finding document about how the our universe is just a hologram.
You mentioned that this is the dream and over there it's real. Mm-hmm. Would you say then that the other side is more real than you and I sitting here?
Yes. I really feel like this is not real. This is, like, I guess we're fulfilling a purpose or doing something, and one day that will be over, or that we'll wake up from whatever it is that we're doing over here. And we'd mentioned before, kind of like a simulation in a way. Like it was almost like, like that's what I woke up from, that, that wasn't real. And it was like, I felt this like, okay, relief, a sigh of relief. And like, it's fine. That wasn't real.
Yeah. My priorities are different. And that, I think, to a large part is due to my mental exploration, spiritual exploration from my experiences and life experiences and near-death experiences. And I mean, I actually did die of a heart attack for 4 minutes once. And but that was like falling asleep. I had many spiritual occurrences after that, after I got out of the hospital, and I had no damage and everything else. And the world it was like the Matrix, looking at the world after that.
I actually was skeptical about possible explanations of what had happened to me. Was I suffering from hypoxia, for example, a and oxygen starvation to the brain. I didn't know. It didn't seem dreamlike. It didn't seem like a drug-induced trip. It seemed actually more real than this is. In fact, I would say that existence is reality. This is sort of an illusion, or at least a construct. Let's put it that way.
Is it possible that we are energy on the other side and everything else is energy? And so we're experiencing everything as energy, or are we still separate from energy? We're just an awareness experiencing energy.
I had the feeling that this is just my feeling, of course, this is highly subjective, that everything that we experience over here is a kind of a simulation for a real world, like we are used to having here, but real on the other side. Like there is as if we are here in a kind of simulation of the real thing that this is on the other side.
So you're saying that this is a copy of the other side, and the other side is the real world.
Yes, exactly. You can put it this way. You can put it this way. Without boundaries. This is just my feeling, of course. This is highly subjective.
And I sat in my room and I just started screaming for Father. I said, look, come on. I don't know what I agreed to. I don't know what you made me say yes to, but I take it all back. I don't mean it. I don't want anything to do with this shit. I want nothing. I'm done. And sure enough, about 2 days later, he appeared. Only this time, it was like a hologram. It wasn't him in person like he had been before. It was just this kind of mere light faded image, right?
If you could compare the other side to this side, which side would be more real?
That side. That's real. This is like a hologram to me. This is like a, how do I describe it? Kind of like a, I don't know. This is very flat here. It feels very almost one-dimensional.
Do you believe like we live in like a whole simulated reality, or it's just we get external programs from people around us that give us limiting beliefs?
Well, there's that part of it. I think the program began way before this, right? Before, I was a child and I get my mother's program because she teaches me what she thinks she knows, right? And whatever she got from her mother, because her mother tried to teach them what she thought she knew. But if it's all a lie, and everything that we're getting taught coming down the chain, and it all gets skewed and changed, right? Words get changed, meanings get changed. And it just keeps going and going until pretty soon you literally have no idea who you really are. People say we come here to learn things. I don't think we do. I think we're trapped here. And I think the game is on right now because people are waking up everywhere. But I think the game is how do you escape?
Earlier you said the world is a lie. Does that mean that we live in some type of simulation or something?
Yes, I think we do. The way I feel we do. And, look at all the things, the belief systems that we have created in all of this world. It's only two things. It's fear or love. There's only two emotions, but we drag all those emotions up and we call them certain things like I'm anger or people's hurt me. I'm a victim. Look at all the things they've trained people to be but that's not even who they are, because they don't even know who they are, because they were told by their parents who they are in the womb. I remember going back into my mother's womb, and because I did die for my mother. My mother, like I said, I was my mother's 7th miscarriage, and I only weighed 1 pound and 7 ounces in 1951. I should never survive that. But I remember I went back into my, mother's womb, and she was angry. She was upset, and, she was in fear all the time. So what do you think the baby got? They were already programmed before they ever get into that. If so, the mother's gone through trauma, or there's something going on, that baby is traumatized before it ever hits this plane. And that's what they've done. When I say they, I'm not talking about somebody in this plane. I'm talking other things are involved in this. We have layers and layers of information that's going out, and we are not even tapping into what we can do. The mother's gone through trauma, or there's something going on, that baby is traumatized before it ever hits this plane. And that's what they've done. When I say they, I'm not talking about somebody in this plane. I'm talking other things are involved in this. We have layers and layers of information that's going out, and we are not even tapping into what we can do.